Hey guys, what's up? As the internet industry progresses, creating REST API becomes more concrete with emerging best practices. So in this video, I am going to talk about REST API. Hi, I am Pulokes. You are watching MTech Learner. So before jump to the REST API, let's have some sense of API. API stands for Application Programming Interface. It provides an interface between two systems, like a cog, that allows two different systems to interact. You can see in the picture as well. Okay. Let's understand it with a scenario. Okay, let's say you are in a restaurant. Now you ask to waiter to take the order because you can't go to the kitchen directly. So waiter takes your order and pass the order details to the kitchen. Once order is ready, waiter will collect the order from the kitchen and serve it to you. Here you are representing an application and kitchen is representing another application, and waiter is playing the role of an API who takes your request and in returns gives you a response. So now I think you got a sense of API. All right, let's discuss about REST API. So REST stands for representational state transfer. A REST API is a way for two computer system to communicate over HTTP in a similar way to web browser and servers. This is a set of 6 architectural constraints. Often people mixed with protocol or standards, but remember guys, it's not a protocol or standards. It's a set of architectural constraints. These constraints are: first one is uniform interface. A resource in the system should have only one logical URI, and that should provide a way to fetch related or additional data. The second constraint is stateless. No client context shall be stored on the server between requests. The client is responsible for managing the state of the application. Third one is API should be cacheable. Well managed caching partially or completely eliminates some client server interaction, further improving the scalability and performance. Fourth one is client server. Server and clients may also be replaced and developed independently as long as the interface between them is not altered. Fifth one is layered system. REST allow you to use a layered system architecture where you deploy APIs on server A and store data on server B and authenticate requests in server C. For example, a client cannot ordinarily tell whether it is connected directly to the end server or an intermediary along the way. Sixth one is optional. It's code on demand. Most of the time you will be sending the static representation of resource in the form of XML or JSON, but when you need to, you are free to return executable code to support a part of your application. Okay, like you can send the JavaScript. Okay, so that's the thing. Get confused? Okay, don't worry, I'll create a separate video to explain this sixth constraint in depth. Okay, so I think that will be helpful to understand these constraints. Okay, so let's move. Let's see a basic diagram here just to understand that how REST API works. You can see here that we can communicate with REST API using HTTP request, much like you would do to navigate to a website or load an image. We can do HTTP request to certain API URL, and these URLs would then return the information we required. Or we could push the data to an API URL in order to change some data in database. Typically, we send HTTP request to an URL that we have defined in REST API, and it would either perform a given task for us or return a certain bit of data. Most API these days would return a response to us in the form of JSON. We can perform card operation using HTTP method. Card stands for create, read, update, and delete. So the methods which are responsible to perform these operation are get, post, put and delete. So get method retrieves one or more resource identified by the request URI, and it can cache the information received. Post create a resource from the submission of a request, and response is not cacheable in this case. Okay. Put update an existing resource on the server specified by the request URI. And delete is another one. Delete an existing resource on the server specified by the request URI. It always return appropriate HTTP status for every request. So now the question is, where are you going to use this REST API? Okay. Imagine you wrote a bit of code that gives you the current weather condition of your area. It reads temperature, humidity and rainfall and stores them locally. How would you then expose this information in such a way that website or other application could view it? Okay. Now the answer to this question is, you can wrap it in a RESTful API, so that whenever we navigate to our app or website, it would give us the JSON response that contained all the current weather stats. Okay. All right. So let's understand some of benefits. Okay. For REST API. With the help of REST API, one will also be able to organize complicated application in a very easy to use resource. Another big advantage that comes in REST API is the high load can be managed with the help of HTTP proxy server and caching. As REST API significantly depends upon codes, one can use it to synchronize data with websites without any kind of complication. It also brings a flexible approach and formats by serializing data in JSON or XML format. Okay, that's all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Bye bye.